Yo, 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 what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of That's Fyre. Excuse me, I almost just died right now. I just setting this up, prepping, just started choking, like, on my own spit. Just, excuse me, please, like, if I sound like shit right now, but my God, I have issues, dude. I have issues. It's been a busy few weeks. We have a busy couple weeks, and this is recording this on Wednesday. We might have it out tonight, or if not Thursday, but on Friday I'm going to Breakaway Festival in Kansas City with my cousin. And then the following Wednesday I'm going to EForest. And yesterday I had a case of diarrhea that would have killed people in the 1800s, for sure. For sure. I looked it up, it was like 1910 when they had a really bad death rates caused by diarrhea was really high, but I mean, yesterday you could have and I would have been okay with it. I've been going through it, my body, but it doesn't stop. We never stop. We just keep going, because this is what we do. This is what we love. Okay. But the reason I had diarrhea was because I was in Mexico at a rock and roll show. I believe I've spoken on it before, but there is a near and dear friend of mine, next door neighbor, grew up next to Otis. Shout out Otis. His daddy is a rock star. Arizona Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Arizona Diamondbacks, when they win, they play his song, King of the Hill theme song. Your dad, if you're my age, your dad's type of shit. Your parents' type of shit. You know what I mean? However, I've grown very fondly of this music because I grew up next to it. And honestly, I was telling the other son, Rusty, this while I was watching his dad with them. I was like, my parents grew up. My mom likes classic rock, and my aunt loves like Duran Duran. But I think I have an appreciation for bands and rock that I wouldn't have if I didn't live next door to this family. So, I love that shit. When we were little kids, we'd go down to Mexico for it's like a little 3-4 day festival in Mexico, right? Lawless weekend, lot of fun. But when we were in like little kids, we'd go wrestle on the tour bus, and then when we were in high school, like sneaking beers and shit, and then in college got in trouble for drinking too much, so they started making my friends work and I work. And then here we are now, however many years later, working will call at this event, checking everyone in, meeting people, etc., and it's just become like twice a year staples of the year, the last couple of years. When I was in New York, I wasn't able to come quite as much. There was like a 3-4 year period there where I missed some, but I've been to these several times, and it was just a blast. And so that's what I spent my weekend doing. No raves, no EDM, just good old-fashioned rock and roll in Mexico. It's a goddamn blast every time. If you're interested, Roger Klein and the Peacemakers is what the band is called. They are extremely, extremely, extremely talented live. One of the best performing groups I've seen, I'll be honest. Lyrically amazing. Like, this isn't bias, okay? Might be, but let's say it's not. It's good shit. If you're into that shit. And I just always feel so lucky to be able to go, man. It's like, get put up in a room. We're working every day, but it's like still just fun and games and living, and you're around live music, which is like the biggest, if there were any doubts before, it was like, boom, you get to go watch these bands play, and we're working during most of it, but when we get off and bands are playing, and this year actually, I heard that, we got off, and usually when we get off, the headliner's ending, but this time they played we caught like a whole hour of it, and we were asking about why, and apparently Roger, the headliner, was there early for the opener set, sick move, and the crowd was empty because people show up late, right? And he said, guys, just why don't we wait for the crowd to fill in to start? Like, who gives a fuck? And so they waited for the stage to fill in, the crowd to fill in, and then they started, and that just pushed the whole night back. And that's just kind of like a cool little anecdote to the type of event this is. It's really small, independent, family type shit, and they said that was probably the biggest crowd that opener has ever played for, and so it was just sweetness all around, but I got diarrhea out of it, so, good and the bad, guys, good and the bad, life's a balance. I was, like, there for fucking, 5 days, like, my God, let me come home, and then when I got home, it's like, yesterday, actually, I got home Monday night, Tuesday, I wake up, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm in the car at 7, going to work, back left tire is completely flat, okay, have to go, I fill it up, I drive a little bit, can't go to work, I have to go to a tire shop. They tell me that tire's unpatchable. It's too fucked up. So have to get a new tire at a different tire shop because that other tire shop was being assholes. Then by the time all that happens, fucking whatever, I come home and a window breaks. I don't know if it's because of the heat or someone threw something. I thought someone threw some shit, but window breaks. Have to patch it up, board it up. Just got it fixed today, but and then middle of the day, I just get hit with the worst diarrhea ever. It was genuinely the shittiest day I've had in such a long time, but I'm going to assume that is just setting me up for what is to come these next couple weeks. I just need to make sure I don't hurt myself or get sick again here in the next couple days and just try to survive, honestly. I'm in survival mode all of a sudden, but yeah, and with all that being said, we have some fun headlines for you. Very, very important stuff, honestly. We'll start with the most important one. Avicii documentary. A new one is coming, titled Avicii, I'm Tim. They just premiered it over this last weekend at the Tribeca Film Festival. It revisits and visits the heartbreaking final moments of his life. Never before heard interviews with him, commentary from a number of his collaborators, features one last interview where he laments his reliance on pills to challenge the limits of his mental fortitude while touring. So he was intentionally taking pills to get him ready for tour and upping the tolerance in his body so that he could just party all the time and get through the tour, which is very insane, rock star type shit, but also very sad because of you know the outcome of what happened. A quote from the documentary that they shared in this article on EDM.com was, "I just took everything that I could. I didn't realize you could do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but once that opened up, you could do the whole year. I was killing myself. The touring went even more crazy because the fees were getting higher. Everything went so fast from that point on." So, and I've talked about this before. I've seen that other documentary a couple times. I forget which one. Came out in like 2018. I forget the title of it, but that one's even sad. I mean, they have like a show ticker in the top corner of the screen that pops up every once in a while. It's like these stretches of like 2 years, 6 months, etc. that he would go on until he got sick and then had to stop and then would just go again. But it like, you just watch that number go up to like an insanely high number. It's like within like 3 years he's doing like 300, 400, 500 shows. It was fucking ridiculous. Like really, really not, like, it's sad. But this is a documentary you need to see if you're into dance music. Avicii is the GOAT in my opinion. I think if he was alive today, he would be fucking the scene up. And I mean fucking the scene up. Like, no one would be able to touch him. That's how good he is. You kind of like compare shit now to like the music theory and the melodies and like the boundaries that he was pushing at that time, at that age. He dies at 28. Like, he'd barely be in like his early 30s now. It's fucking sad, man. Terrible. But wanted to start there because that to me is the most important story. But in other news, the new Jamie XX album is incoming, Gasoline. It's going to be called In Waves. It's his sophomore album. His debut album, In Color, was a classic. The cover art is kind of similar. Trippy shit. That 2015 album, though, a freaking classic. Gosh, Sleep Sound, Seesaw, Loud Places with Romy. I am so sorry. I Know There's Gonna Be Good Times with Young Thug. Girl. I feel like every once in a while one of those songs pops up and you're like, oh my, this guy was fucking on it. So he put out Treat Each Other Right this last week or a couple weeks ago. Put out Batty on the Floor with Honey Dijon a little bit ago. Both are really sick. I was reading the Treat Each Other Right music video is fucking trippy and cool, and he's just another one of those guys who's just elevated like creative direction, creative vision, like music, video, song, show. Everything is just elite when it comes to him. So the album is coming September 20th. LS Dream and LSZEE put out 2 singles. I wrote about them on This Song Is Sick. They announced they're going on tour this summer. I'm going to see them at Electric Forest here in a couple weeks, but their shows that they're doing together is all original music that they've made together. A couple years ago, they met up in Joshua Tree and collaborated and just decided to team up. Their name is LSZEE, which is fun. But they're putting out an album. 27 songs, 90 minutes, and every show that they do is going to be original music that they've created from this album. Very, very, very elite, one of a kind, you gotta be there type shit, and I'm going to be there, baby. I'm going to be there. So, it's exciting. Other Electric Forest news, they announced some curated stages. Odyssey with Redrum or Red Drum, Super Future, Trip Street, Zen Selecta on Thursday, Bass Rush on Tripoli Friday. I might have to go there just to see. Boogie T, Dimension, Ivy Lab, Level Up, Wooly. Deep in the Forest on the Observatory, Leighton Giordani, Swalo, Vinny Vicky. And then Sunday Pride at the Carousel Club with LPGOB. I would love to see her at the Carousel Club. But that's gonna be so much fun, man. I'm so excited. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna be staying at my cousin's apartment next weekend. I'm gonna try to do a podcast from a room there, but we'll see what happens. If I don't see you, just know that I'm gonna be on the way to Forest getting crazy. In other news, Tomorrowland is ready to publish a fantasy novel trilogy titled The Book of Wisdom. This is just a lot to take in, right? Tomorrowland making a fantasy novel, and it's going to be a trilogy. According to the first novel in the series, according to a synopsis, the first novel in the series follows Helia, a guardian of the story's namesake library. While visiting one of the realm's paper world, she and her partner, Xavier, find themselves under attack by a legion of invaders, not the least of which is a shadowy figure called Ashman. The story was written by Rosalia Aguilar Solas, a Mexican city-born author who comes from a long lineage of writers, according to the press release. It will be published via this, I mean, I'm in to try it, you know. Dance music, electronic music, festivals like Tomorrowland are fantasy worlds. You go there for a weekend, you forget about everything else, and you're just fucking living in there. It's a beautiful world, and so writing a book surrounding it isn't like the craziest idea. And nowadays you have like all sorts of companies branching off into all other types of shits. Like companies have their own podcasts now, you know, like it's not out of the ordinary for like a music festival to write a book, because there are so many different collaborations and things going on nowadays within media. Everyone's main tool in their companies is media. Who has a media team? Who can like get their Twitter like fucking bumping? Like who has a good Twitter? Arby's? I don't know. Like Wendy's or some shit. AutoZone, you know, like those companies are like they hire someone to comment on like popular stories because it helps the brand and it helps get their shit out there, and it makes them multifaceted. And who knows, like what if this book is just like the next Game of Thrones, and then they're just like, oh, we have sickest festival ever, Tomorrowland, and we have like an insane book that we can turn into a show, that we can turn into whatever. Like it's a pretty cool thing. But let me get off my soapbox here. That's my master's in fucking bullshit from Syracuse talking. Not bullshit. I actually was thinking about whether it was worth it the other day, and then I just popped off on that little segment. So it definitely was. I just need to get this podcast going so that we can, you know, get it going. But 3 points is, out of all the festivals in the U.S., I want to go to this one the most. Miami looks sick. Lineup's crazy. They announced the full lineup, and it is fucking stacked, top to bottom. It's crazy. They're gonna have 4-hour sets. A 4-hour set from Seth Troxler, DJ Cozy, other additions. James Hype and Medusa, Mall Grab, Of the Trees, Blondish, Tori Moss, Salute, Blade, Joe K, Beltron, Horse Girl, A-Track, Disco Lines, DJ Shadow, Carlita, Sammy Vergi, Elderbrook, Raekwon, Artemis, The Three Sacred Souls, Young Lean, Glass Beams, Tin Liquor, Live, Jock Green, or Jacquez Green, Leighton Giordani, Player Dave, Layla Benitez, Chase West, Chloe Robinson, back-to-back Coffin Tex, White Square, back-to-back Ricardo Baez, Johnny from Space. Like, and I have Ranger Trucko. There's still like a whole nother fucking section. Eli Escobar, back-to-back Jubilee. It's like, what? This is a 2-day thing? The 11th anniversary. They're like doing a funky thing where they like, they go on sale at 11:11, or pre-sales at 11:11, general sales at 1:11. You know, they're playing to it. And then the main headliners, I didn't even read the middle: Pink Pantheress, Rick Ross, Rez, Clooney. These are all people that they had already announced. Disclosure, Katra, Jamie XX, Jungle, Arca, Vintage Culture, Pausa, Parliament Funkadelic featuring George Clinton. Oh my god. That'll be sick. Sarah Landry, Mochak Justice. I mean, just top of the top, you know. Lastly, festival news. Glastonbury will likely take a year off in 2026, Emily Evis says. So, I didn't read this interview because I wanted to read it with you guys. Emily Evis. Who the fuck is that? Okay. Let's start there. Because they just keep quoting her. Who is Emily Evis? Internet personality. Michael Evis's daughter, who founded the festival. Okay. So her dad founded the festival. So she's very important. I should have her on. She said that in a new interview on Annie Mac and Nick Grimshaw's Sidetracked podcast that they might take a year off in 2026. They will likely to. The festival periodically takes a follow year every 5 years or so in order to allow the farm land on which it takes place to fully recover. I fuck with that. She said on the podcast, the follow year is important because it gives the land a rest, it gives the cows a chance to stay out for longer and reclaim their land, and I think it's quite good to not be seen to be cashing in. Not to be seen to be cashing in. I don't know what that means. She revealed her dad, the founder, came close to permanently pulling the plug on the event when he reached retirement age in the 90s. My parents were always like, this is the last one. Everyone thought it was some sort of stunt to sell tickets, but it wasn't. They were genuinely like, well, we probably won't do another. Shout out to the daughter for keeping it going, man. This is another one that I want to go to. I want to go to 3 Points a lot, but this kind of has some history to it. It's in the UK, different vibe. Would love to go. My dad was like, oh, I think I might need a festival now. Because they were going to retire and go on long cruises and things like that. My dad was like, listen, let's keep it going. So that's fucking awesome. So this year's festival is the end of June, the 26th through the 30th. Dua Lipa, Coldplay, SZA are all playing. And yeah, I love that concept, though, of taking time off to let the land go. Like, as a festival attendee, you want to go every year if this festival means something to you, etc. But it also might even be nice to, like, take a break for a year, you know? But, my god, my earring's fucking stuck. Okay. But yeah, that's the pod, guys. Thank you for listening if you did so far. Once again, I'm going to be traveling a lot the next 2 weeks. If I'm not here next week, I will be back the following week to recap Forest, but I will try to my best to be. I appreciate you if you watch this whole thing. Just know that big things are coming, and I believe in this podcast, and I believe in you, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.